Welcome to Massive Beers. My name's Matt. We talk about beer stuff here. I was going to say a lot of, but mostly is the word I should say. Review-wise, and that's what we're going to do tonight. A little bit of a review. A little bit of what I assume is going to be hazy IPA. Because it just says IPA, but I'm assuming it's going to be a hazy IPA from Notch Brewing. A brewery I wouldn't expect an IPA from. Not that... Oh, it's 4.3% session IPA. Ooh, nice. See, I didn't even look. See where it says up here, American Session IPA? Yeah, or session beer. I should read that. But anyway, I think a Notch, I think a lager. I think that's what most people think of. But this is actually only my, second Notch beer I've ever had. I actually just reviewed the other one probably about 20 minutes ago. These comes courtesy of Keith. He went up to Salem, picked these up, and this is their left of the dial 4.3% session IPA. This, I'm squeaking this sucker in right under the wire here. If you could see the actual date there, I'm not sure if you can actually make that sucker out. Yeah, that would be the 22nd of May. This is Best Buy, and today is the 19th of May. So right there, just sneaking that sucker in. So I'm really curious to see where this lands. You hear that? That was a pretty cool sound. Anyway, clear beer. It's not even why would I expect a hazy? It's not. Come on. So now I'm even more pumped. Clear beer, son. Label-wise, not a fan. I think you can do better. There's just something about it. Not that their cans are, from what I've seen, have been something kind of like super kind of art driven or whatever, but this just seems a little lazy. A little lazy Notch. Want a little bit more. Put the effort in. Yeah, that's what we call clear beer. I mean, relatively clear beer, especially by today's IPA standards. Rub the chill haze off and you get that subtle, soft, hazy little 4.3% IPA. White as white could be head. Let's get a huff. Yeah, I mean, that's like old school East Coast IPA is what that is. New school hopped, but old school East Coast IPA, and it's got this nice kind of, like malt sweetness, a big malt sweetness if you actually factor in that it's sub 5%, 4.3%, and just citrus, all the citrus fruits, but in a slightly kind of candied kind of way. There's, orange and lemon and pineapple, and, it just has this little bit of hard candy kind of vibe to it. I don't think it's going to be overly sweet, 4.3%. It shouldn't be, but it just leans in that direction as opposed to a soft, kind of creamier, more confectionery kind of vibe to it. So bright citrusy hops, leaning on the sweet side of things. Perceptually bitterness, I don't really think it's going to be there. It just screams old school. It screams, old school, new school, old school. It screams, Lawson's and Alchemist and Fiddlehead. Those kind of old school kind of beers. But it does smell like something that's a bit bigger. Does smell kind of come off like you're expecting something in the 6-ish kind of range as opposed to 4.3. So, you know how I dig that. Let's dive in. Cheers. I like it. I think it's actually a little bit past its prime, though. I do, and I'm not a big date kind of person. I'm not like, oh, it's got to be fresh, blah, blah, blah. I think beer should be able to stand the test of time. The reason why I say this is past its prime because I feel like there was a little bit more of a... Let's just reverse that. Let's walk it back. Let's talk about what we're drinking before we assume what it could have been or what it should have been. Clean, crisp, relative. There is a subtle little flabbiness to it, but not too crazy. I think that's a little bit of time working there. Citrus abounds. Undersweet. Even for 4.3%. I don't want a crazy, hyper, super sweet, low ABV beer, but when it's kind of this old school, kind of tight and tidy, little kind of non-hazy thing, I want this little bit of, just this little snap of crystal malt that just kind of brings this little sweetness at the end. I think that elevates a lot of things, and it's kind of missing here. Could be a time thing on that. there is a subtle carbonic, kind of seltzery, kind of carbonated soda, kind of acidy thing. Again, picking nits here. It's nothing hyper aggressive, but when you combine that kind of lack of that little touch, that little final little of sweetness, and then you have that little seltzerly carbonic thing in the tongue, it ends up coming like, it comes off as undersweetened. Not a negative thing. Like, I'm not sitting here going, that ruins this for me. I actually could crush a 4-pack of this really, really easily. Especially if I'm kind of putting it in a tiered kind of drinking system. You know, if I'm going to go out and drink beers, you know, hang outside and drink a bunch of beers and just work in the house and do all that kind of stuff. I'll have a Pilsner, then I'll have a Pale Ale, then I'll have an IPA maybe, and just kind of rotate back and forth kind of that way. This is a welcoming addition between like a crispy Pilsner and something with a little bit more kind of New England kind of creamy fluffiness. But I feel like there was something more to it. And that's where we can kind of go back to the original conversation, which was the original kind of point I was trying to make. I feel like there might have been a little bit touch more sweetness. I feel like there might have been, that would have tempered a little bit of that kind of carbonic thing. And I think it would have come off just a little bit more kind of better for me, for me. But I like it. It's not this thing where I'm trying to poo-poo on it or anything like that. This is going to be drank. I'm not going to like review this and just push it off to the side. I do that with a lot of beers. I'm going to drink this, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like there was something more to it. And being a couple days short of its best by date, whatever they deem that as. I mean, they could put a month on this for all I know. I don't know. I just feel like there was something a little bit more. There was a little magic in there that might have just softened over time. But all in all, it's undersweetened, classic kind of new school, old school, a la the, Lawson's of the world, kind of lower ABV, kind of IPA. IPV, did I say? I've been doing a lot of networking stuff at work. It's called ABV, and just a crusher across the board, not overly sweet. So if you dig on like your little hoppy chuggers being not all that sweet, you dig on this. But if you're looking for something with just a little snap of sweetness and just nothing overly crazy, but just leaning a little bit more, this might leave you wanting. But I still think it's a tasty beer. Thank you very much, Keith. Mount Rushmore sass on the pails, low ABV pails. I like it. It's in the conversation. It's not towards the top. It's a fun beer. Value and availability. I always like to know those. I'm going to bring that back. I was kind of like, should I do value and availability anymore? Yeah. I have to do it when I want it. So, Keith, let me know what you paid and leave you with, what do you know? What do you know about this brewery? Have you been to Notch? Have you had this beer? What are your thoughts and feelings on Notch as a whole? More specifically, have you had this batch? Have you had it fresh? And have you had it closer to when I've had it? And where do your thoughts stand on it? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I somewhere in between? There you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.